Hello everyone, this is Taylor with Rural Gorge Anglers in Canyon City, Colorado, the oldest fly shop and fly fishing guide service on the Arkansas River and only Orvis endorsed outfitter on the entire Arkansas River Basin. Thanks so much for viewing today. We are moving into the last few days of March. Easter Sunday here this Sunday, and that will kick off April, and really we are moving into what is known as spring prime time on the Arkansas River. The month of April and the first few weeks, 3 weeks of May can be the very, very best fishing in the spring. We're looking forward to just a banner spring prime time with low water, clear water, great conditions, and as large of hatches as we've seen in the spring, at least thus far. We've had for the last several weeks some very, very consistent and prolific blue-winged olive activity. The full life cycle, especially in Bighorn Sheep Canyon and Canyon City, with warmer water temps in those areas. We're starting to see some sporadic BWO activity from Salida upstream as well, especially on warm days. But we're already seeing water temps into the 45-46 degree range in Bighorn Sheep Canyon and Canyon City, and the 43-44 range at peak in the Salida area. BWO activity kind of happened ahead of schedule, which we kind of expected, with lower water and the flows in the 200 to 300 CFS range currently. With that lower water and less water, it obviously just takes less time to warm it up. So on warm days especially, that bug population was really progressing. We were seeing more BWOs in the drift, more emergent activity earlier on, and adult activity as well. What we kind of expect over the next couple weeks is to see a continuation of that building BWO hatch activity, but also potentially fairly early case caddis hatch activity, that Brachycentrus occidentalis, the case caddis, which is prolific in our river. We could potentially see some strong hatch activity around the 10th of April, potentially even sooner in Canyon City, whereas typically it's about April 15 when we see that kick off. Tax day this year should be right on the money. We should see heavy caddis activity, and don't forget that we continue to see that prolific BWO activity through runoff as well. So some great dry fly fishing opportunities, especially in the afternoons on the Arkansas moving forward. We're still nymphing a lot in the mornings. Fish are a little bit deeper and deep tail outs, deep pocket water in the mornings. Still very active, but we do need to get down to them a little bit. Once bug activity really starts to swing, and we start to see emergent BWOs and even some free swimming caddis starting to emerge, then fish move up in the water column, and we can kind of get at them with BWO emergers, caddis pupa, and streamers, and then obviously adult activity follows that. So still a good range of techniques required to really do well, but our guides are having just banner days already, and we're just now moving into prime time. We expect one of the very, very best springs we've had in a decade or more, and so do plan some days early to get in here, get on the river in April and May. And like I said, just a quick little blurb about where we're at with Snowpack and when we expect to run off. We're at about 60% of average currently as far as snowpack is concerned for the Arkansas River Basin. We do think we're slightly higher than that because of some of the snow fields that are a little bit higher than that 60% range, especially Fremont and Brumley. They're at around 80% of average. So that doesn't really accurately reflect in the overall basin numbers. We do think we're right at about 70% of average, which is still much lower than the last few years, obviously. What we expect from that here this spring is one of the key factors in that low snowpack is there's hardly any snow below timberline. So we should see runoff start a little bit later than usual because we won't see that low-level snow melt as much enter the river like we typically do about the third week of May, last week of May. We could potentially extend our great fishing through the month of May and not see runoff until the first week of June this year. Of course, a lot of variables in play. We could still see some runoff in late May, but we do expect that great fishing to kind of continue on through the month of May and extend our season on that end, as well as probably getting the river back much sooner in June, potentially the third week of June, and almost most definitely the fourth week of June. We should be fishing the edges hard and seeing stoneflies hatching and having good clarity back at that point. We do expect for flows to maybe top out during runoff at about 2,500 CFS, potentially lower than that. So that's kind of what our water engineers are telling us at this point. One of the great things is we've got about 140% of average water storage on this basin. So we're going to be able to keep those flows in the 700 CFS range, which is so important through the hot weather months in, late July and August to keep our water temps a little bit cooler for the trout. So we're in a great position to have a great season. We expect just a banner fishing year on the Arkansas on all sections. So integrating a good stonefly nymph rig is going to be important while keeping in mind that BWO life cycle. Let's look at a few stonefly nymphs to start, and within the stonefly molt, you do have lighter stones typically in the morning, darkening throughout the day, so fishing light in the morning and dark in the afternoon is typically a good method. A few lighter colored stoneflies, one that we really like a lot is the rolling stone. Okay, it's a newer pattern. We've been fishing this pretty heavy for the last couple months. The tongue stone, John Barr's pattern, is one of our favorites. Okay, it's tongue stone. Darker flies, looking at the tongue teaser, John Barr's pattern, real similar to a 20-incher, which is another one of our favorites. And then when fish move into a little bit heavier riffle water, it's always a good idea to have a rubber leg stone. So that 20 bomb from Frank Smethurst is one of our favorite patterns in the rubber leg category. 20 bomb, stone bomb, those are both great. Looking at some caddis larvae, because obviously very much in the mix as far as your free swimming caddis is concerned right now. Not really seeing those smaller case caddis larvae yet, of course, but soon enough we will. This is Shea Gunkel's roller caddis. Fantastic little fly, okay? And then one of our favorites around here is a chartreuse copperjohn tied on the scud hook with the rubber legs. It's a great free swimming caddis, fishes real well. And then sometimes even, in the afternoon when fish are on emergent BWOs really heavy, sometimes we'll take the stonefly off, and if they're not quite in the surface film yet, run a caddis larva with a BWO emerger underneath in that combination. Like I said, we are seeing some free swimming caddis hatching. So your kryptonite caddis in a little bit larger size 14, works really well. That's Juan Ramirez's pattern. And then we've got a variety of great jigged caddis pupa that we like to fish. A little bit larger profile, so that caddis pupa can fish well if you're seeing a few free swimming caddis hatching and on the water. Into your BWO nymphs, and typically, you know, these will be key patterns in the morning. Crystal Hunchback's one of our favorites. Just a little kind of light olive tungsten bead fly. Iron Lotus, which is super heavy, tied with an oversized tungsten bead. Great little BWO nymph. Two-bit hooker black and two-bit hooker olive and two-bit hooker purple. They're all standby killer patterns. With your BWO emergers then, we are kind of looking at you know, CDC style patterns, and then just more, you know, kind of generic patterns like your WD-50. That's a great little emerger pattern to fish, you know, a couple feet deep to right under the surface in the film. One of the newer patterns that we like to fish deep as well as in the film is Juan Ramirez. And you know, that's a great little pattern called the Slim Shady. Just very, very lifelike, very much like the natural. CDC Loopwing, one of our go-to favorites. And then kind of getting into the dry fly scene, obviously your BWOs will be your key dry fly patterns here for the next several weeks until we get into heavy caddis activity. Low water beta, so really great slight profile dry fly. Hackle Stacker, one of my favorites, Ken Morrish's pattern, easy to see and a great slight profile fly. Split Flag, another easy to see, great BWO dry there for your adult. Like I said, a few free swimming caddis out there as well, so I like to have a few free swimming caddis adults, like a clown shoe, a little bit larger, kind of mottled body, good egg layer as well. And then the midget caddis is a great free swimmer as well, just larger profile. And sometimes I'll even take one of those caddis and run a BWO emerger weighted version underneath. Can be a great way to go. The only other thing I would look at are streamers, and in the afternoon when water temp gets 44 plus degrees, fish are really, you know, they're chase prone. They're very, very active in the water column. So running something up front that's a little bit larger and a dark black color, like this black Dirty Hippie or tan Dirty Hippie, nice and heavy, gets fish's attention. Then running a trailer underneath, like Thin Mint's always one of our favorites, or a newer pattern, John Barr's Hot Cone Slump Buster. Those are great imitations, and you know, like I said, we've had some very consistent streamer activity, especially in the afternoons once water temp gets in that mid 40 range. So a little bit about flies. How you rig them obviously depends on whether you're Western nymphing or Euro nymphing. Obviously your dry flies are pretty straightforward, emergers fished mid-water column all the way up to the subsurface film. Get here and have fun. I mean, that's the key. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to catch fish right now, but the key is, you know, set aside some days to get down during spring prime time. Like I said, we're gonna have some phenomenal fishing here through the next couple months, and we could have an extended spring season with a later runoff, being in that there's really no snow below timberline. So get here, enjoy. Give us a call if you have any questions, toll free, 888-994-6743, or shoot us an email at info@royalgorgeanglers.com. We're always happy to help and really appreciate all the support. We had just a fantastic spring kickoff event, our Arkansas Fly Fishing Festival. We had over 400 people through the door. Had some great beer from Florence Brewing and on-site wood-fired pizzas and breakfast tacos, and just had a great day with our manufacturer reps. That was the third week of May. Had a lot of fun. Thanks so much to everybody that came and enjoyed that great event. We'll have more events throughout the season. Keep an eye on our event and classes calendar. And one last thing, we do have free fly fishing classes every other weekend called our Fly Fishing 101. All you have to do is call to sign up, and you can come in, spend an hour with one of our guides or staff, fly shop staff members, learning the basics of fly fishing. Then we have our Orvis 201 once a month that's on the water stream side, $50. That's 2 hours of instruction stream side. Maybe catch your first trout on a fly, so on and so forth. If you've got somebody in your family or a friend that's interested in getting into the sport of fly fishing, this is a great way to do it. Check out our events and classes page and check out the dates for those classes. Like I said, not a better way to do that. And then if you're interested in a guided trip, please do give us a call. We are almost at capacity through our spring dates already. So if you want to get a trip with one of our very experienced guides, try to learn the Arkansas better, or the South Platte, or the Arkansas tailwater, or Stillwater, then give us a shout, and we'd love to set something up for you if we can. Again, thanks so much for viewing. We'll have another live report, video report up when something major changes, probably going to involve our Brocky caddis hatch, maybe around the 10th of April, so stay tuned for that. Until then, come enjoy the great fishing on the Arkansas right now, and let us know if you have any questions at any point. Have a great day. Enjoy your time on the water. Stop by to see us at the fly shop. Thanks so much for viewing.